Joe Scarborough just issued a dire warning to Donald Trump and his flying monkeys, and this could get really ugly really fast. Cue the cannons. And welcome to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. And happy Pride to all you who celebrate. I personally will be hanging out at West Hollywood Pride this weekend, so if any of you, dear viewers, are there as well and see me, feel free to say hi. On to our breaking story. Since returning to office, Donald Trump is engaged in a constant battle with the judiciary on a host of issues. Those range from his attempts at dissolution of government agencies via Doge, to his actions on mass deportations, to detaining legal residents without any form of due process. For more on all of that, see our other videos here on the channel. This week saw Trump collide with the judiciary over his tariffs. A lawsuit brought by multiple states claimed Trump did not have power to impose most of his tariffs. And yesterday, that battle intensified.
This is a huge setback for Trump and his administration. As big a deal as the tariffs were, this is as big a deal in the opposite direction. It essentially pauses, for now, rules illegal and unconstitutional, almost all of the tariffs that have been in place. And the core of the ruling is this. Typically, it is Congress that controls the tariff power. However, Congress can pass laws giving that power to the president in certain instances. They did that years ago in a statute called the IEPA, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Trump then declared, okay, we are in an international economic emergency because of our trade deficits, because of other economic worldwide factors. And this court unanimously 3-0 said that is not an economic emergency. That is not what the law means. Having trade deficits, which we've had for 49 years continuously, that is not an economic emergency and has now struck down for the time being all of those tariffs that were put in place on Trump's first day and then on quote-unquote Liberation Day, April 2nd.
So just to recap all of that, two courts ruled that Trump does not have the power to impose most of his tariffs. Late yesterday, an appeals court put a stay on that ruling, meaning the lower court ruling stands, but the tariffs will also remain in effect pending arguments for an appeal in the coming weeks. Nevertheless, this is a massive blow to Trump and his agenda. Both autistic Nazi Trump advisor Stephen Miller and Trump himself had online meltdowns, with Trump posting this to Truth Social. Now, this isn't the entire post. It was really long and equally incoherent as per usual, and I'm not going to read all of it for fear of lowering the IQ of you, my beloved viewers. For now, the part of this that we need to emphasize is that Trump is targeting the judges on the court, two of whom are Republican appointees, including one Trump appointed himself, as well as Leonard Leo, the head of the ultra-conservative Federalist Society. And when a president attacks an elitist bigot like the head of the Federalist Society for being too liberal, you know we're in uncharted waters. But just as distressing is yet another attack on judges by Trump. He's been warned about this in the past, including by Chief Justice John Roberts. And clearly, the man does not know when to quit. That prompted the panel on Morning Joe earlier today to issue a warning of their own. Now, this is fairly in-depth, so you'll want to watch the whole thing. Take a look.
Telling things in the Roberts court, where Roberts wrote, "Don't ask us to do what you can do at the ballot box. We're not going to overturn the Affordable Care Act. You don't like it, do it at the ballot box." Here, you have the Article 1 branch deferring to the Article 2 branch on tariffs. And it just seems to me, if you're looking what the Roberts court has done in the past, they would say, don't ask the Article 3 branch to do what the Article 1 branch has deferred to the Article 2 branch. I'm wondering your thoughts about that logic as well.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, you could see the originalists on the court say that, you know, historically, this role of setting tariffs has belonged to the Congress. In fact, what the lower court rulings that just put a hold that was then taken off on these Trump tariffs, that's what they basically said. They said, you know, some kind of emergency power to implement embargoes against rogue foreign countries is not a license to impose, quote unquote, reciprocal tariffs around the world. So I think that you could see the Supreme Court come out that way. And another thing that I have to say changes the atmospherics a little bit here with that Supreme Court is this sort of unhinged Truth Social message we got from President Trump yesterday, attacking Leonard Leo, the conservative legal activist. You might say, well, what does that have to do with tariffs? And that's not even an issue that Leo's active on, and that's true. But Leo is somebody who's very close to those justices, and we're already seeing signs, right, that the 3 Trump appointees are not so firmly in Trump's camp as some would have expected. And to have that kind of unhinged attack, calling Leonard Leo a sleazebag is the word the president used. I mean, it's almost incomprehensible. The last time I saw Leonard Leo was last fall at the Federalist Society conference, and he was not schmoozing with other, wealthy lawyers who were there or other conservative legal activists were there. He was sitting in the lobby of that Hilton Hotel that I know you all are very familiar with, chatting with a Catholic priest and a Catholic nun, okay? So the guy is not a sleazebag. There are many criticisms you can offer of him, and obviously someone who's dispersed billions of dollars in conservative money. There are people that will have disagreements and criticisms, will say he's anti-majoritarian. Those are all things that I think one can debate as reasonable criticism, but to call him a sleazebag is just sort of bizarre lashing out at someone because you didn't get your way. And I don't think that's going to sit well with his friends on the Supreme Court.
To reiterate, Trump is on very thin ice right now, and he's pulled the rest of the country with him. The slow-moving constitutional crisis continues. And as Josh Gerstein correctly notes there, the decisions issued by the lower courts blocking Trump's tariffs seem to send a signal to the Supreme Court in advance, noting that Congress, not the president, is, with rare exception, the part of government that sets tariffs and other taxes. Furthermore, Trump's use of war powers to accomplish his agenda was struck down by the lower courts, which will invite further lawsuits, particularly over his mass deportations. Now, the Supreme Court cannot remove Trump from power, but their rulings could add pressure to the legislature to remove him. If nothing else, this tariff ruling hobbles much of the executive power he's trying to use, in essence, making him a lame duck on most domestic issues. His other major homeland push, the big, beautiful budget bill abomination, looks dead in the Senate, at least in its current form. Internationally, his tariffs, accepting bribes via cryptocurrency, and his attacking of longtime U.S. allies has already rendered him impotent, which, for those of you keeping track, doesn't leave him with much he can do. And it hasn't even been 6 months. In less than 6 months, not only has public sentiment turned hard against Trump and the Republicans, but Trump's entire agenda has crumbled thanks to his overreach and bad management. And again, Democrats have an opportunity to ascend beyond their hall monitor status and articulate a vision and plan for America. The midterm elections are just over a year away. Time for Democrats to step up, offer America hope again, and prove themselves the party of the future. This is Occupy Democrats.